At the end of July 2023, I traveled to Athens with my family to board a Virgin Cruise Line ship. The first leg of the trip left us bewildered, dumbfounded, troubled and yet amazed. So much so that we were compelled to document the trip back home to Miami. The latter part of our trip left us petrified as we needed to hide from the police who were looking for me. Although it was not my fault for doing what I did, I was still afraid of being locked up. We felt lost in a foreign land with the possibility of being thrown in jail in a country whose laws we were not familiar with. Having lived alone from the age of 16 in New York City, this second event was not as profound to me as what we witnessed on the airplane monitor. I will soon reveal why I had to hide from the police. But what I really want to talk about is the revelation we witness. For it's a subtle one that will be overlooked by many. For me, having done research on the subject, this trip confirmed a view I was leaning towards too. The airline was Turkish Air, and despite the flight taking over 11 hours to Turkey, followed by a short hop to Athens, I was not the least bit uncomfortable. My wife, who happens to be a travel agent as well as a schoolteacher, and I were somewhat entertained by what we saw on the individual monitor placed in front of each seat. What could have been so intriguing and captivating that would compel us to document our return flight? Well, what we witnessed made no sense. To us, there was only one logical explanation. Both of us are studious and spend much time researching and documenting things of interest. We examine topics from many different points of view and analyze those views that are different than ours. This flight path goes against everything that we are told, and thus, it skewed us towards a premise we had previously contemplated. To many we could come across as either stupid and/or crazy. To a few as spot on. I will present the evidence here and you decide for yourself. Keep in mind, it's very easy to overlook reality. Our itinerary was well laid out. I did not have to think about making any decisions as to activities. That was fine for me. Actually, I highly enjoyed it, as I had no planning, nor decisions to make. Everything went as planned except for about the 7th day. Our voyage had ended and we went shopping. That day we toured a busy shopping section of Athens. Around noon the girls decided to get a quick lunch. The table they sat on was placed on the street near the curb. As they munched away on their marinated Greek beef souvlaki, I decided to stand across the street and people watch as I enjoyed my second ice cream cone of the day. Leaning against a building, I observed 4 preteen males looking around as they walked towards us. They were one behind the other and several feet apart. For some reason, I knew they were up to no good. It was my childhood experience that alerted me. The one in the front locked his gaze on the girls and started walking towards them. The other narrowed their distance. As I was off to the side and across, I walked behind the boys and was ready to chase them in the event they snatched anything. As they came within arm's length to the girls, they started asking for money. I was ready. My tunnel vision came and thus I did not see the rapidly approaching vehicle. When I did, I froze as the bumper rested against my knee. As I looked up at the driver, I found myself between the vehicle and someone. That person had placed each hand into both my front pockets at the same time. There was no doubting what was taking place. I did not have to look back to confirm. Without thinking, I quickly and instinctively turned around and struck the man's throat with the palm of my hand. I then checked my pockets to see if anything had been removed. Oftentimes these thieves work in tandem and quickly pass any stolen item to someone else. That would not be the case here. Confirming nothing was taken, I then checked my small backpack. By now, the man had dropped to the ground. He tried to talk but could not. It took him several seconds to stand up. I had already distanced myself from him. I then gazed at the boys and they were not fazed by what just happened. They quietly walked away. The girls were now on their feet and I stood near them. The man mumbled to me. He asked what was wrong with me. I held my ground. He then started walking towards me, so I threw my backpack on the table and held my position. With that, he decided to leave and about 200 feet away joined up with the 4 boys. The store owner told me to quickly leave as someone had notified the police. He did not have to say again. I took off in the opposite direction from the man I just hit and turned upon that corner. As I did, I heard sirens approaching. Measuring 6 foot 2 inches, I would be easy to spot. 100 feet past the corner was a small entrance to a building, and so I entered it. Its second door was locked. Because the first door was glass, I could have easily been spotted. My family was standing outside and made sure not to make any eye contact with anyone, especially the police. After about 2 minutes, more sirens were heard. 2 police cars drove right by the girls. I exited the building and continued. There were now many police walking and standing about. For sure I would be questioned. I knew in the States my actions were considered self-defense, but I was in a place that I knew not how to play the game. Since we were just feet away from the ice cream shop, I decided to go in and have one more. This would get me off the street and allow me time to formulate a plan. My wife decided to call a taxi. They are free now. It's similar to Uber. She went out to wait for its arrival. There were many police walking about and I needed to walk past 2 of them to get to the cab. Upon its arrival, a small commotion captured their attention and I quietly snuck into the back seat. I am sure the driver was curious as to why I decided on the back, but no words were spoken. 15 minutes later we were all safely back at the hotel. Seconds after entering the lobby, we counted 6 police pull up on motorcycles near the hotel. I could not believe they were coming for me. There was no way for them to know. Guess what was at the next entrance to the hotel? Yes, believe it. It's the same throughout the world. People who become police have a high adrenaline and sugar addiction. This is why they are always at donut shops. For a second, I thought about going out to them to pay for their donuts. But yes, that would be foolish. For the moment I had eluded them, but more important, my family was safe. All in all, I do have to say that both Turkey and Greece are safe and nice places to visit. Anywhere there are tourists, you will have people trying to take advantage.